Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sip on This. I'm Emad.
Nick Brogdon.
Yeah, Naj.
Today we're going to start things a little bit differently with
I like this.
we've pulled a few topics that we've been sort of highly, not debating in the office, but discussing. There's been a lot of buzz and discussion over these topics, and sometimes Naj, Nick and myself like to nerd out on a few of these hardcore technical
Go
SEO
for a
topics.
half an hour
Yeah.
walk and
That we do.
That's how we do it.
shoot it out.
I like
Typically, these are SEO topics. This is
Yeah.
a full SEO nerd out session.
Yeah, definitely. So to kick things off, I guess one that we've discussed for a while, I know Nick and myself got messages at 3 a.m. in the morning when this sort of was released online, but the Google leak,
Yeah.
hot
was a big one.
topic.
Hot topic. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, part of Google's search algorithm, I guess, was released on GitHub. One of the biggest Google leaks to date. A lot of the source code was released on GitHub. A lot of SEOs got to it, and basically it was sort of a really hardcore analyzed and researched topic.
Yeah, a lot of the big guys like Rand Fishkin sort of got a hold and tried to sort of go through, and they've done a lot of analysis on it. It's been out for a little while now.
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of nuggets. There was a lot of stuff that was sort of taken from it. There was a lot of conspiracies debunked.
I think the one conspiracy that comes to mind, and I think it all sort of touches a heartstring for us, is that links matter.
Yeah, well, anyone that is good at acquiring links and has
Mhm.
actually seen the value of links, that was a no-brainer. Everyone knew that already, right?
Mm.
But now it's harder for people to say that they don't matter, but they still will. you know?
Yeah. I mean, you say that, but how many times have you run into other agencies or other sort of marketing people who are, anti sort of backlink? And we're not talking about black hat sort of,
Mm.
building links and sort of things like that. But there actually is a fair few, people who don't think backlinks sort of matter at all.
Yeah, well, I think my take from it was more based on the type of links, right?
Yeah.
Like, because some backlinks don't matter.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Which is something I've
Mm.
championed myself for a long time, is that it was sort of just my take on it was leading back to the disavow file.
Yeah.
And how Google they basically only allowed that for SEOs that knew where to find it. They didn't post it anywhere.
Mhm.
They openly said, we don't really care if you use it or
Yeah.
not. A lot of people removed the links from it. So my theory on that was, okay, Google's taken all the data from disavow files,
Mm.
and then they've built their own spam index.
Mm.
And then anything that hits that gets on that spam index, if you
Mhm.
get a link from that site, it's just disavowed. It's
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
going to hurt you. It just won't help you.
Mhm.
So if you're investing money into buying low quality links,
Mhm.
it won't hurt you like it would back in the day,
Mm.
but it would
It's
just
just
do
ignored.
nothing.
It's ignored. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that sort of came out of that was that, Google would collect a lot of information from the metrics in Chrome and
Mm.
then pass that along back to Google in their sort of evaluation of where to rank.
Mhm.
And one of the things that sort of was pointed out is that the page, for example, that has the backlink on it, that is backlinking to your website, the metrics of that page are super important in terms of how Google values that link or not. And it's exactly what you've said. If like they're crap or they're not sort of good, that link is simply ignored. That actually was present in the data leak. So it's what we all sort of knew anyway. But I suppose this is an actual confirmation that, hey, our theories were kind of right. Like it was along what Google was doing anyway.
Yeah, totally. And we'd been, we provide link services for a lot of people, right? And our theory was always really, really heavily on the quality. And then we would search for URLs that were indexed for a number of keywords at least, and that would promote the value. I remember actually like 2 years ago, maybe less, a year ago, I don't know. But we went to a really large site and got a link from an indexed page that had maybe $10,000 a month value in traffic. Linked that into a page that we couldn't get it to index, this big piece of content we created. We got the link from this site, which was like a 80 something DR, million plus a month traffic. link that in within 3 days, we're like number 4
Yeah, that's
for like major terms.
that's happened a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's high value. And we're now, like, I'm contemplating to start to create a premium product, which is, just like literally finding those URLs that are super high value and spending a day or so working on one piece to acquire links from those, which is doable. But anyway,
definitely.
so that's something, but it's not really a learning from this. This is more a confirmation.
No, it's more of a confirmation.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, Google has, suggested that links don't matter.
Well, you've never really had any confirmations
You've
from
never
Google
had the
before. Like no one's ever
confirmations.
come out and said, "Yep, this is it," right? So I suppose this is it's a little bit of
Well, you say that. I think it's funny when people say that. Google's never confirmed it. I think they had, because if you get a good one, good links, right, point them at a website, it ranks better. In my opinion, that's Google confirming it.
well, yes and no.
Mm.
That's in that particular niche and that particular
No, but that's across the
circumstance.
board pretty much, right? Like if
Oh,
you're
but
doing
how many times have you seen something work for one client but doesn't work for the other? That happens a lot.
There's no
with
doubt
us.
that they have different filters and algorithm settings for different industries.
100%.
That's a given.
Yeah.
And that's probably why you've seen certain things work for some clients but not work for others.
Yeah.
And no two domains are the same. Like if you're doing a certain exercise for a particular client and you do the same exercise for another client and you don't see the result with client B, that could be because the DA of the domain isn't so juiced up. It doesn't have such high quality content like domain A does, for example. No two domains are the same, which is why you probably can't replicate the result across
sites always react differently, but the general consensus is good content with links. It works in general.
Yes.
There was nothing new, but
yeah, I don't know.
It was good.
Anything else?
It was good to see comments in source code that sort of validates stuff we've known for 20 years. Yeah.
And especially since last time there was a leak, it was from escapes me now. What's the Russian search engine?
Yandex.
Oh,
Yandex.
Yeah,
Remember Yandex had the same thing.
Yandex had
like a few years back, and everyone got excited about
kind of
that.
destroyed them a little bit at the time, right?
Oh, to be honest,
it's a bit before my time.
I just remember it was like a similar. Everyone had a similar reaction, but it was Yandex's algorithm. But anyway, I don't know. Anything else interesting that you found in there?
Not really. I mean, everything else was pretty obvious to me, like the demotion of exact match domain, things like that. I mean, all that stuff is a really old SEO tactics. We all know exact match domains don't really matter so
and
much
also
anymore.
Just come out and said that they're downgrading that anyways.
Well, that was there. The change history part of it where Google.
What was that?
So Google apparently keeps a copy of every version of your website. So change it, they test against each
their
other.
Own version of Wayback Machine.
Yeah, they'll
they probably just use Wayback Machine.
They probably use Wayback Machine. They got a premium account.
They pay $88 a month for that.
Yeah, probably.
US.
Look, other than that, I think everything else is fairly.
I think that one thing,
obvious.
just as good points to talk from that is what Naj said before, but we sort of moved on from it quick, was that the fact that they said that they were using Chrome data.
I think, and also the amount of Chrome data surprised a lot of people.
That's for me was the main thing. I went, wow, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
It's so logical, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a free browser. It's owned by Google. It's collecting everything, giving it back to Google.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, that for me, that was the biggest like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I suppose it was another validation of why big brands sort of almost always naturally do really well on Google. It's because, they're doing a lot of branding work, a lot of non sort of SEO specific type of marketing. And there's a lot of traffic coming in. The metrics are positive and Chrome's sending that information back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The second one I had here was Google testing AI overviews with link cards.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
give us a little breakdown of what that is before.
So to give you a little breakdown, so Google's mainly search labs in the States, I think it's running. So they use AI overviews. They've been testing AI overviews, and basically what they are is if you have a particular question that you're asking Google, you want to know how to fix something, or you want to know about something. The AI overviews are designed to basically use AI to generate an answer from the top authority for websites. So it might pull the answer from 3 or 4 websites, and then basically what you have is a big AI card appearing above the search results in sort of like I don't know what you'd call it, maybe like a salmon color.
Oh, salmon.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'd say it's a
nice colour.
salmon.
It's
It's
a
a salmon
delicious
gradient.
fish.
And it basically, it is a great fish.
If you like
it,
it, so.
Why not?
it puts the answer together using Gen AI.
Yeah.
Really cool
So
feature.
it's collating. So it collates from multiple sources, gives you its own
pretty much.
answer.
The concept, I think, the core reasoning for it is Google's weakness right now is like it's great at giving direct answers, like answering direct questions. But if you ask a question like, what's the example they use on their site? Something like, I want to go for I used an example the other day on something I was talking about where it's like, if you asked it, what's better, Port Macquarie or Newcastle for a holiday? I have 3 kids and a dog.
Yeah.
And my kids are 8. If you ask that question to Google now without AI overviews, Google can't answer that because, well, it can, but you'll have to go through and research those. You'll have to break that into pieces, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what this does is it actually it'll find the pieces for you. It'll formulate an answer and it'll check all of those, each individual's queries, pull it into one query and give you a long tail, really good long tail answer. Then it gives you the breakdown on where it pulled the data from at the bottom. So it's about solving providing a good solution to long tail queries, which Google's always struggled with.
Yeah.
By the way, yesterday I had lunch with someone from Chicago. She just got here for the week. And I asked about
I thought you flew to Chicago.
No, unfortunately. I don't think I would have made it, to be honest. But I asked her about AI overviews. I said, how often do you see them? Because I put a VPN on the other weekend and just
to use Search Labs.
I shouldn't admit to doing this, but I sat there for hours, to try and just play with it. And I just kept Googling things. And I didn't find it that often. But she said that you see them nonstop. It's like
all the time.
Yeah. You do see
So
it.
I didn't think it was I didn't think it was appearing that.
What's it going to do to site visits?
So here's the thing with site visits. So
down.
An
Well, you're staying on the Google
article
platform,
just
getting
dropped
your
actually
answer.
on Search Engine Journal, and the AI overviews they coincide clearly with a drop in mobile searches. And here's
mobile searches or visits.
But if I don't understand that. What's I don't know.
Well, there's a couple of things. So firstly, searches without clicks have seen about 60% of searches.
So research terms potentially.
Yeah, research terms. So 60% of them don't have clicks. So mobile traffic has dropped off. Now there's a bit of a catch-22 here. The user is getting the answer that they want on Google, generated instantly via AI. Great user experience.
Yeah.
But a lot of the sites are probably going to see a massive reduction in traffic because the answer is often, I'm not sure how many sites it splits the answer across 3 or 4 sites, I think. And it's taking data from all those sites and basically generating an answer for you. So you're going to see a decrease in traffic.
Just out of curiosity, did you see those things with or without Google Ads?
There's no Google Ads on it yet.
There's no
Google Ads.
No.
So it's just that the whole page is organic.
It's organic only, which I'm sure Google Ads coming.
Well,
soon.
the reason I ask is I'd be interested to see if they're above or below the ads.
No ads yet.
No,
but the ads will be.
They just sit on top of the page at the moment.
Yeah, right.
It's like where the featured snippet is.
Yeah.
They appear there.
Yeah.
So there is a clear correlation in a drop in traffic.
Do you know what though? They're clearly it's a new tested product. It's not official. It's not a role. Like it's not actually a product. It's a test. So they're going to need to continue to optimize that themselves, right? Because Google split tests probably more than anybody.
Yep.
Except maybe Amazon. I'm sure they probably beat them. But so they'll be doing a test. But the thing I find intriguing with it is more. Think about it from an e-commerce level. It's going to be way better because say you want to buy a bike, right? But you're saying, I want a mountain bike. I'm going to ride it about 10 Ks a day. I'm going to
weigh this much.
Yeah, I weigh this much. It's a lot of hills. And a lot of rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
What's the best bike for me? Then it'll bring up actual bikes that you can buy. and you click through, and it'll just do a lot of the legwork for you and take you straight to the bikes that suit.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I suppose
Right?
you'd have to go back then to your own website and make sure that you have amazing product specifications.
Yeah.
You've got great content on the product pages.
And that's what Google's always been about. It's bettering the user experience, right?
Quality answers to your questions.
Answers to your questions, exactly.
Yeah.
But here's probably one for you is, with these AI overviews coming out, are they really worried if traffic drops to the sites? Because what that would probably do is entice advertisers to ramp up their Google ad budgets, right? To be able to capitalize on some of that
maybe
traffic.
they figure out a way to monetize those actual snippets. Because if you've got 100 websites and they all have the same content, they're selling the same product, right? Which one of them is going to be lucky enough to be featured in those?
I don't know. I think from an e-com standpoint, maybe
you may have to pay for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
We're talking about something that doesn't exist yet, right? So it's very hypothetical.
Mhm.
But remember, again, my understanding I have to date, very new thing, is it's for long tail queries, right?
Yeah.
Which have really low CPC, right?
Mm.
So it's not something Google's, well, I guess when on scale like Google work, they probably make a lot of money from it. But it's not like, if you search life insurance, it's not going to come up with this.
Sure.
It's going to give very direct commercial answers.
Mm.
So it's really answering queries that don't have high CPC value.
Yeah, for now.
So for now,
Yeah.
So that's why I think probably ads wouldn't be a huge priority for it. It would be about solving a results issue.
Yeah.
But
and it's probably a way for Google to keep up with ChatGPT in a more direct level.
I think they have to. AI is just blowing up right now.
Yeah.
That's a whole different chat. I don't want to get into it.
But that's why I'm always really cautious talking too deep about things like the only reason I would like to talk about this one is because it's live, so we can play with it.
Yep.
Prior to that, I didn't really ever like to talk too much about AI in search because it didn't exist yet.
Yeah, there was no purpose.
So what's there to talk about?
We always get asked that questions and functions and sort of things like that.
We kind of
I think Google's given a lot of direction into how to optimize for it. By doing like I've done some tests recently where just even in some like a battery website, camping batteries and stuff, which is a big market, and we took pages for lithium batteries and updated the standard SEO text at the bottom of a Shopify sort of page, and used like really implemented EAT principles, audited everybody. Write about the batteries and what's all the specs of the batteries. We did all that, put that on the site. It ranked better instantly.
Yeah.
But I have a strong feeling that will result well for AI overviews because if someone's querying details about a battery, it'll actually have all of this information on the page. And it'll link through to a collections page.
Yeah. Well, it's just forcing you. Well, not forcing you, but further, driving you to produce high quality, relevant content that provides the user what they want. At the end of the day, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I guess watch this space. Right?
Yeah, definitely watch this space. Yeah, cool. All right. So moving on from that, I think this one is a bit resonates with Nick a little bit. Crawled, not indexed.
Oh, yeah. I do like a crawled, not indexed.
What's this going to be? I wasn't expecting
only because I hear about Nick's crawled, not indexed gripes.
No, I do talk about it a lot.
It's a pain point, isn't it?
Well, it's an overlooked area of SEO. I find a lot of times.
Do you want to maybe explain what it is to?
Oh, I don't actually know.
You're not sure? We'll bring someone else in.
I just pretend. No one's ever asked me before. No, a crawl not index it's exactly what it says it is.
Yeah.
That's the answer to what is it. Google's crawled it and said, I don't think so.
We're not
it's
indexing
not good
that.
enough for us, buddy.
Yeah, but I think where a lot of people,
it's just something people neglect.
It is because it's not a very visible error in Search Console. You sort of have to go into a few tabs and you see, oh, this page is crawled but not indexed. A lot of people don't actually know why.
Yeah, it is cool. Like, I think I told you guys a story the other day. I was looking at working with an e-commerce site that's really authoritative in their niche. They rank for pretty much every primary commercial query they could. Very successful, strong brand, great, just fantastic everything about their business. But I realized there was one query that was a high value commercial term,
Mhm.
they weren't indexed for it. And then I was like, what? I thought, how could they have missed this? Of course, I went to the crawled not index first, found the URL in there, was like, okay, so this is a collections page, Shopify website. It's the same as all the others, but Google's just said, no, we don't like it. So we took that page, rewrote all the copy, did similar to what I was talking about before with the battery stuff, where we did a eat copy update on the page, implemented that, re-indexed it, a couple of good quality links, and suddenly
Up she
bang,
goes. Yeah.
they're winning. They
So while the content was too generic, it was
too generic.
Yeah. So I think generally, if I guess the official answer is if Google has content that is really similar to that page, it just probably deems it not relevant. And doesn't index
Well,
it.
there was just so many talking about that same topic. But it was interesting because it was so their niche. It was very odd to find something that a hole that large that Google had just said, we don't think this page is relevant.
And it can really happen to anybody, right? Because without sort of mentioning the client, these guys were probably an authority in their industry.
Oh,
so
yeah. The authority.
The authority.
Yeah.
So it can definitely happen to really authoritative sites. If your content isn't good enough. But I also, like in that case, it'd be really cool to try an experiment where if you run past that error again, you maybe experiment whether it's just content or it's content and links, because you did.
It's generally content.
It's generally just content.
Well, I always, whenever I do get GS, like Search Console access, first things I look at is crawled not indexed.
Yeah.
Because that's, if you look at that and see there's a ton of stuff in here that's been crawled, Google don't think it's worthwhile. Number one, does it still exist in reality, or should you just prune that whole amount of the website? Or number two is this valuable and should we optimize it? It's always a place I start very early when working on a site and look back to it regularly, because it's generally content issues or duplication. They're cannibalizing all their information.
For sure.
It's a good place to just get a feel for the quality of the way that they've worked on the website. Because if there's stuff that Google keeps regularly saying, we see it, but we don't like it.
And it can also give you an insight on how to shape the website's overall content strategy, right? As you sort of get a feel for what Google likes for that particular site, that particular industry. It allows you to reshape the whole content strategy.
Whatever learnings you pick up from that page, you make
sure
that whatever content you're developing later on, you're sort of implementing that off the bat, minimizes errors moving forward.
It's a good thing. It's just something, I'm sure people do it, but it's not talked about enough. I think we need to focus more. I'm just kidding. I don't really care. I'm going to run for some sort of government thing here. No, but I just think it's something important, and I don't.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It's just a matter of that it gets missed in the UI sometimes. It's not that obvious in Search Console.
Like people always talk about 404s, right? Like that's so important. The 404s, which 404s you got to fix it. The crawled not in is the same thing. It should be. It should be regularly
on par,
checked.
right?
Exactly.
It should be on par with 404s.
But people just people like 404s. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's why. And
it's easier to say than crawled not in.
Yeah. Was there anything in the article we're meant to talk to? I sort of just.
No, not really. We pretty much covered it all.
I'm the only person that cared.
Yeah, you're the only person that cared for that.
We put that in for you.
Yeah,
nice.
we did.
I appreciate
I know.
Because we like
I know how much
Thanks,
you
guys.
love crawled not indexed.
Yeah. I think maybe
It's your t-shirt that when you.
the crawled not index shirt I
that
wear.
gives it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that might.
Definitely.
I didn't know. I normally wear it under a jumper.
That's
You know what we should do? We should open this up for future ones, just for people to hit us up in the comments if there's any sort of technical
issues,
challenging questions,
try and debunk them.
Yeah, we can just hit them through and we can discuss it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
For sure. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up for today in our little sort of nerd out session.
Loved it.
Thank you so much for being here.
I've wanted to do this for a while.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun.
Cool.
It's good fun. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us. See you.
Ciao.